once and I'll tell you again. You didn't commit the sin when you laid down with the sister. You committed it when you thought about it. Before you ever thought down the number, you were already involved in it psychologically. This is what Jesus said. If a man looks upon a woman to lust after her, he has sinned already in his heart. He's not passing judgment. He's not saying that you're in sin. He's saying you've already opened yourself up to sin, because the moment you thought it, you became it. So is a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Touch your neighbor, say, I'm going to learn how to control myself. I've got to learn how to deal with me. I've got to learn how to deal with my own bad attitude. I've got to learn how to deal with my own lustful thinking. I've got to get my heart under subjection so that I can receive the blessings of the Lord. Can I preach it like I feel it, or should I go across the mountain now? Do I have the time? The writer involved his enemies because it is his enemies who are in the negative and they want to destroy you. But the real conflict is not with the surrounding enemies. The conflict is with the enemy on the inside. Because I've got to deal with my nature. I've got to deal with my own appetite. Because I know what goes on in the dark when nobody's around. And I told myself I'll never do it. But then something in me brings me back to the same thing I said I'd never do again. Look, somebody say, he's talking to me this morning. He's talking to me. Because I said I'd never go back to her. But I went back because something in my heart had the capacity to control my mind. The old folk told me when I was growing up, they said, look, preacher, you've got to learn how to love people with your mind and not with your heart. But how is it possible for me to love them psychologically and not love them emotionally? Because whatever I think is what's in my heart. I mean, I really want to break it, but I ain't got the strength to break it because there's something on the inside. And I'm trying to bring what was into what is. And I'm trying to figure out a way I can balance the negative in my positive. How can I have what I want and then experience what God has for me? I'm going to preach to me this morning. How can I deal with the strength of my pain in order to embrace the power of his glory? Because I say no with my mouth, but my heart is saying, do I feel it? But my heart is saying something else. How can I control me? I ain't talking about money now. I'm talking about me. How can I deal with the fact that I know the assignment for my life? But how can I will it? How can I overcome it? How can I deal with it? And I'm tired of folk laying their hands on me and talking about shake the devil off. Well, I've been shaking for 20 years and I ain't been able to shake it off yet. They tell me take it to the altar and leave it there. Well, I ain't been able to leave it yet. I want a real word. I want a real deliverance. I want the power. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, I need God to do this. If I'm going to experience deliverance, I need God to do it. Do I have the time? Can you handle it? Because the heart is deceitful. The heart will talk to you. I feel this thing in my system. The heart will talk to you while you're laying down beside your wife. Your heart is talking to you about somebody else that don't mean you no good. And you know they don't mean you no good. But you're trying to talk to your mind. You got to tell yourself, I wish I could talk to some folk that wasn't trying to fit the funk today. We ain't got time to play. I got to deal with myself because the heart has the ability to govern my thoughts. That's why depressed people don't move, because they've already told themselves that they can't move. How do you deal with the fact that you're weak? This is what God said. He said, let them that are weak say that I'm strong. Let them that are broken say that I'm healed. I wish I could talk to you